President Zuma,
尊敬的非洲联盟轮值主席
Your Excellency
穆加贝
President
总统
Mugabe, Chairperson of the African
尊
Union,
敬的各位元首、首脑，
Heads of State and Government,
尊敬的非盟委员会主席祖
Your
马女士，
Excellency Madam Zuma,
尊敬的
Chairperson of the AU
各位
Commission,
嘉宾、
distinguished guests,
各位部长、
honorable ministers,
女士们、先生们，
ladies and gentlemen, dear friends.
有机会在美丽的约翰内斯堡同大家
It
见
gives
面。
me great pleasure to meet all of you here in this beautiful city of
这
Johannesburg.
次中非企业家大会
This forum,
以合作
with the
共
theme
赢
of China-Africa
共同发
cooperation
展
for common
助
development,
推非洲一体化和
catapulting
工业
the
化进
African
程，
industrialization renaissance,
对
is
非洲
highly
的
relevant
包容性
for the inclusive
和可
and
持续发
sustainable
展
development
具有现实意义。
of the African continent.
在此，我仅对大会的成
Here,
功召开
I wish to
表
extend
示热烈的
my
祝贺。
warmest congratulations on the successful convocation of the forum
在中非
and
经
my
贸合作
heartfelt
中
appreciation
做出贡献
to
的
friends of all
各界朋
sectors
友
that have made contribution over the years to trade and economic cooperation between China and Africa.
中国和非洲虽然远
Though
隔万里，
geographically far apart,
但中非交往
China and
源远
Africa
流长
enjoy a long history of exchanges,
中非友谊历久弥坚
and。our friendship has stood the test of time.
今天的非洲充满了生机
Today's
勃勃
Africa is brimming with vigor
中
and
非经贸
vitality,
合作达到了前所
and
未有
our
的高度。
business cooperation has reached unprecedented height.
众多中国企业家
A
到
large
非洲
number of Chinese entrepreneurs have come to Africa for investment and
越来
business
越多的非
ventures,
洲朋友
while more and more African
去中
friends
国经
are
商工作
working and doing business in China.
我曾经工作过的中国的浙江省
In Zhejiang, a province where I used to work, there is a small city called
那
Yiwu.
里号称世界的小商
It is
品
now
之
well known as the world's capital of small
现在就有
commodities.
成千上万的非洲商人
Several thousand businessmen from Africa are based there,
从事中非贸
engaging
易。
in China-Africa trade.
截止到2014年，
By the end of 2014,
中国对非洲
the
各类
total
投资
stock
存
of
量
Chinese investment in
达
Africa
到
had reached
1010亿美元。
101 billion US dollars,
在非洲建立企业3100
resulting
家
in more than 3,100 Africa-based
2014
enterprises.
年，中非贸易额达到
Two-way trade between China and Africa reached 221.9 billion US
中国
dollars
在
in
贸易、
2014.
投资、
China
基础设施
has
建
become
设、
Africa's principal partner in such areas as trade, investment, infrastructure development, and economic cooperation parks.
当前世界经济
At
形
present,
势复杂多变，
The situation facing the world economy is complex and fluid.
经济复苏乏力，
Developed countries are going through
新兴市
weak
场国
recovery,
家经济增长
and
放
the
缓，
emerging markets have slowed down in their
全
economic
球
growth.
经济增长不稳定
There
的
are
确
now
定性，
growing risks
风险
of
加大。
uncertainty and instability in global economic growth. However,
非洲
Africa,
作为发展
the
中国家
continent
最
that
优的
has
大
more
国
developing countries than any
近
other,
年来成为
has distinguished
全球
itself
经济的
as an economic
一个亮
bright
点。
spot in recent years.
目前非洲
The security situation in Africa
安全局
has
势还
been
是
generally stable.
各国政府均将发展
Taking
经济
economic development
作为核
as
心
their
任务
central task, governments in Africa have formulated ambitious economic, industrial, and infrastructure development plans.
非洲大陆年均经济增速
The African
接
continent
近5%，
has maintained an annual growth rate of nearly 5%,
非洲方兴未艾的工业
and
化
Africa's vibrant industrialization and urbanization process has injected
注入了新动力，
fresh dynamism into global
使非
economic
洲
growth
成为增长最
and
快
made
的
it the fastest
和最有
growing
希望
and
的
the
大
most
陆。
promising continent in the world.
纵观近代世界经济
Looking
发
at
展
the modern history of world economic development,
中国和许多国家的经验证明，
as well as the experiences of China and many other countries, We can say for sure that industrialization is an inevitable path leading to a country's economic success. China has gone through a hard and tortuous journey of industrialization for the past century and a half. Back in the mid-19th century, the overwhelming military might of foreign powers forced China to open its door and begin what was called self-strengthening movement in the early form of industrialization. Since the beginning of reform and opening up 37 years ago, China has embarked on a fast track of industrialization. Within a short span of several decades, China has accomplished what took developed countries hundreds of years to accomplish, and put in place a complete industrial system with enormous production capacity. By becoming the world's largest manufacturing country and the second largest economy, China has testified to the success of its exploration for an industrialization path suited to its national conditions. Looking at China's journey of industrialization, we have keenly recognized that industrialization cannot be achieved behind closed doors. Industrialization in the age of economic globalization requires that we take full advantage of both domestic and international markets and both home and overseas resources, put our comparative advantages to the best use, and realize the global allocation of resources. What is more, we should draw on as much as possible the experience of advanced countries and choose an industrialization path suited to our national features and conditions. It is entirely possible for Africa, as the world's most promising region in terms of development potential, to bring into play its advantages and achieve great success. Distinguished colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, the achievement of inclusive and sustainable development in Africa hinges on industrialization. And industrialization also holds the key to creating jobs, eradicating poverty, and improving people's living standards. Africa's path of industrialization can only be found by African people through their own practice and exploration. It is China's sincere hope to share its experience with African countries. And we are willing to provide capital, technology, and personnel in support of African industrialization. In the areas of infrastructure building, investment, and trade facilitation, China-Africa cooperation will create more investment and trade opportunities for companies of the two sides, thus enhancing the competitiveness of African industries and closing the infrastructure gap in Africa. In the fields of modern agriculture, green development, poverty reduction, and people's welfare, China-Africa cooperation will enable companies from the two sides to share advanced know-how and help African countries establish a sustainable development model, enhance their independent development capacity, improve their public governance, and raise the quality of life of the African people. Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, with new circumstances come new opportunities. China and Africa should embrace our proud tradition of sincere friendship and enhance mutual assistance and cooperation. To this end, I wish to make the following proposals. First, we must go for win-win cooperation based on equality. Both China and Africa should uphold the values of friendship, justice, and shared interests, bearing in mind their realities and each other's concerns. Seek and expand convergent interests, and jointly build a community of shared future for China and Africa. Second, We must go for multilateral cooperation that is open and inclusive. Our world has already become a closely interconnected whole. We want to see an open and inclusive global economy and reject trade and investment protectionism. As China-Africa economic cooperation is open, companies from other countries are welcome to get involved on the basis of mutual benefit. Third, we must go for capacity cooperation for tangible results. China is ready to share, without any reservation, advanced applicable technologies with Africa and combine Chinese competitive industries with African needs to deepen industrial cooperation. This will help enhance the quality of the African workforce and create more jobs and strengthen Africa's internal drive for economic development. We will send more experts, set up more vocational training centers, and strengthen personnel training and entrepreneurial exchanges with Africa to earnestly meet African needs for well-trained personnel and capacity building in industrialization. Fourth, we must go for green, low-carbon, and sustainable development. As Africa boasts rich natural resources and a superb ecological environment, we should give top priority to sustainable development in China-Africa cooperation. We will launch projects for African countries to cope with climate change and better protect the ecological environment, train more African professionals in environmental protection, and help Africa embark on the path of green, low-carbon, and sustainable development. Fifth, we must go for priority cooperation with focus on the fundamental aspects. We will make an overall design for the all-round business cooperation between China and Africa. Help African countries in farmland and water conservancy projects, strengthen transportation, infrastructure, and power supply, and support SMEs and programs of poverty reduction and people's welfare, thereby delivering tangible benefits of China-Africa cooperation to all the people. Dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, entrepreneurs are the main players in China-Africa business cooperation, as well as envoys of China-Africa friendship. I sincerely hope that Chinese and African entrepreneurs will shoulder their responsibility of all-round business cooperation, be prepared to blaze new trails and learn from each other, and work together to bring about a better future for the Chinese and African peoples. Thank you.